everyone. Thanks for joining me today for this week's episode 8 of Infinite Hope. This week is an interesting week for me because I actually took some time off from uploading YouTube videos and being on Twitter and social media as much as I usually am. And it's been it's much needed rest. Because my mom came to visit me from Canada and I haven't seen her for like a year, and it was really important for me to spend some time with her, some quality time. Family time's important, and it's been really, really nice. But Infinite Hope is really important to me as well, and I wanted to make sure that I have that bit of good news that you guys always want to check back for every week, because this world is really gone crazy and we could all use that bit of good news. And so here I am to provide it. Please smash that like and subscribe and share this video out there so everybody else can share in the positivity and understanding that there's hope out there. Infinite hope. Here we go. Okay, so for this first article here, we have this one that reads, Jon Rahm makes incredible pond skimming hole-in-one and practice ahead of the Augusta tournament. That's really cool, and apparently he did it twice, one during practice and one during the actual challenge, and on his birthday no less. His second in 2 days, Jon Rahm skims his way to a hole-in-one at number 16 on his birthday no less. So let's check this out. I thought this was really, really cool. I'm not a huge fan of golf, but you know, these achievements, it's pretty cool. It's pretty awesome when somebody achieves something like this. Makes it really special. Ooh, skipping on the water. There it goes. That's pretty amazing. I mean, I can't even putt. Yay! Oh my god, everybody's so happy. I love that. I love sports. It's really cool. And the other really cool thing about this article here is that it shows that they were practicing for this on the 200-yard gong shot, which is a gong in the middle of the water. And a bunch of golfers were trying to do this practice and hit the gong. And, you know, they kept trying until somebody finally did it. And it's a really cool video that you guys should also check out. I will link it in the description. So there you go. That's the first article. Okay, so next we have a little bit of science news called the new kind of superconductivity discovered. Researchers demonstrate a superconductor previously thought impossible. Nothing is impossible if you think infinite. All right, so the superconductivity is a phenomenon where an electric circuit loses its resistance and becomes extremely efficient under certain conditions. There are different ways in which this can happen, which were thought to be incompatible. For the first time, researchers discovered a bridge between two of these methods to achieve superconductivity. This new knowledge could lead to a more general understanding of the phenomena and one day to applications. That's really cool. If you're like most people, there are 3 states of matter in your everyday life: solid, liquid, and gas. You might be familiar with a 4th state of matter called plasma, which is like a gas that got so hot all its constituent atoms came apart, leaving behind a super hot mess of subatomic particles. But did you know about a so-called 5th state of matter at the complete opposite end of the thermometer? It's known as Bose-Einstein condensate, BEC. BEC is a unique state of matter as it is not made from particles, but rather waves. The associate professor Kozo Okazaki from the Institute of Solid State Physics at the University of Tokyo, as they cool down to near absolute zero, the atoms of certain materials become smeared out over space. These smearings increase until the atoms, now more like waves than particles, overlap, becoming indistinguishable from one another. The resulting matter behaves like it's one single entity with new properties the preceding solid, liquid, or gas state lacked, such as superconduction. Until recently, superconducting BECs were purely theoretical, but we have now demonstrated this in a lab with a novel material based on iron and selenium, a non-metallic element. Well, that is really cool. Science is always advancing, guys. I will link this article in the description. Check it out. It's pretty fascinating stuff. I love science. Okay, so next we have more science news. Hawking's 50-year mystery about falling into black holes has finally been solved. If you lurk into the event horizon of a black hole, will you ever come out? According to a series of new calculations, which just solved a 50-year-old problem even Stephen Hawking couldn't figure out, the answer is yes. It's been described as a landmark calculation, the biggest thing to happen in the field since the work of the famous British physicists established the problem in the first place. Since the 1970s, physicists have been grappling with the logical contradiction in calculations surrounding a black hole called the black hole information paradox. Hawking could use this semi-classical quantum general relativity hybrid explanation of the physics of a black hole to describe what happens to matter in and around it. He discovered that quantum uncertainty causes small amounts of radiation to emanate from a black hole called Hawking radiation. This eventually causes it to lose mass and evaporate into nothingness. If the black hole loses mass and eventually disappears, then what falls in must appear again somewhere. The question is, where, how, why does the information escape? The authors of the new calculations, including scientists from UC Santa Barbara, have uncovered additional effects permitted by general relativity but that Hawking didn't include, which describe a strange situation in which information that falls into a black hole will eventually come out, and that this phenomenon happens at the same time and is partially to blame for the evaporation of a black hole. It's really interesting stuff. Quantum entanglement. The way in which it works is through quantum entanglement. That kind of totally reminds me of Dark. I love that series. Everybody should watch it. A phenomenon which simply means that particles of matter can be linked on the quantum level and display patterns of relativity to each other even though they could be separated by thousands of miles. Don Page, a physicist at the University of Alberta, was a graduate student in whose studies of black holes were key in helping his advisor Stephen Hawking make his realization that black holes emit radiation. In 1980, Page broke with Hawking and argued that information must be released or preserved in black holes, causing a schism among physicists at the time. Ooh, drama. If one imagines the black hole as the contents of a snow globe and the glass of the globe as the event horizon, the edge of the black hole where the laws of physics begin to break down, Al-Mehari found that as the entangled entropy grew within the system, a quantum extreme surface formed on the glass of the snow globe, just inside the event horizon. Everything inside the quantum external surface is not part of the black hole, but rather like a collection of entanglement particles which no longer contribute to the entropy in the system. Furthermore, the innermost particles in the simulated black holes become likewise detached from the black hole, forming something which Al-Mehari called the island. On to the next one. In demonstrating that entanglement entropy of black holes followed the Page curve, Al-Mehari and his friends confirmed that black holes do in fact release information. though it comes out in such a disorder as to appear like an encrypted password. Ooh, that's really cool. Last year, having just solved a 50-year puzzle and proof page life work, the team decided to focus on the mysterious island of particles that were in but not of the black hole. The island is part of the radiation but haven't flown out or been transferred to the external surface. Musser describes the issue of the mysterious island as causing the team to look off into the distance, momentarily lost for words. Oh boy, so am I. My goodness, some of the stuff like goes a little bit over my head, but I think it's all very fascinating. I mean, I love physics and space and black holes and all that kind of stuff. I'm gonna have to read this article again. I will link this in the description. Everybody should check this out. Some fascinating stuff happening in science and space. So yeah, discoveries always being made. You gotta think infinitely, people. All right, so this next one here I also thought was extremely awesome. Common weed stops the growth of breast cancer cells, scientists in London report. A plant which had previously been dismissed as not being medically useful could prove to be a hero in disguise after scientists discover that it stops the growth of breast cancer cells. Wow, that's pretty amazing, isn't it? I mean, don't discount nature, man. Everything in nature has a purpose. The groundbreaking research, which could lead to future chemotherapy cancer advances, starred Arabidopsis Biala. Man, these flowers always have the weirdest name. Also known as thalecrest. Can't we just call it thalecrest? The leaves were treated with the plant hormone jasmonte, a substance discovered in jasmine that boosts plant responses to stress. Then they incubated the treated leaves with breast cancer cells. The researchers found that not only did the cancer cells stop growing, the normal cells remained unaffected. This is significant as use of the plant in breast cancer treatment could potentially lead to a quicker recovery time and fewer secondary effects for patients subjected to chemical treatment. And they have also discovered molecular mechanisms associated with the changes in the breast cancer cells that will allow development of further new treatments. That's fascinating stuff. Everybody should check this article out. Don't dismiss Mother Nature. It's got a lot to give, a lot to offer. That's awesome. Cancer sucks, and I hope they defeat it. And that's it for this week's episode of Infinite Hope. I hope you guys enjoyed it and see that there is infinite hope out there. Research is happening every day. Life is going to get better. Everybody hang in there. Stay away from social media. I found that it's really helped me in the past week to not be around social media as much as I have been. And honestly, it really, really helps. Unplug yourselves once in a while. Take a break. Spend time with family. It's important. Everybody hang in there. It's a rough ride, but we'll get through it together. Subscribe, like this, share it out there. Love you guys. See you next week. Bye.